Hello, and thank you for joining us tonight for the first of our two GALA concerts at the 2020 Virtual Composers Conference. I am Kurt Rohde, and I am the Artistic Director of the conference. These concerts are the culmination of over 2 months of work by our Fromm Foundation Composer Fellows and Contemporary Performance Institute Instrumentalists. Once we realized our conference was going to have to be online this summer, CPI Director Peggy Kampmeier and I paired our Fromm composers with our CPI performers, asking them to create new works together. Under the guidance of our guest composers, Linda Catlin-Smith and Amadeus Regusera, these collaborative teams have worked with remarkable insight and originality to make this new music. Tonight features the first 5 of these new works. Tomorrow, the remaining 5 will be premiered. Peggy Kampmeier will also perform works by our guest composers, with a work by Linda Catlin-Smith being performed tonight, and one by Amadeus Regusera being performed tomorrow. We are honored to be able to present these 2 concerts. They are the highlight of the conference, and they best represent what the conference is about. People coming together to make music as a community in an inventive and honest way. And we can't do this work without you, our audience. If you feel moved to help support the conference, please go to composersconference.org and click on the support tab. Donations of any kind make this all possible. I would like to thank our Fromm composers and our CPI instrumentalists for an extraordinary conference this year. They are all extremely gifted, promising artists, and we are delighted to present them in concert tonight and tomorrow. So sit back and enjoy the show. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephen D. Filippo, and I'm just here to give a few short words about a piece that I composed with clarinetist Kaichi Hirayama, entitled Front Face, Side Face on Zoom. So a bit about the piece. What you will see are a series of videos, which are sort of these vignettes, which present Kai in several situations where he's using like different combinations of clarinets. So we see, anything from him playing like a solo E-flat clarinet to 6 bass clarinets and 9 E-flat clarinets at one point. Just a really wide array of like combinations that we can only do through just multi-tracking him. And this is also processed with some electronics as well. And I was thinking, just because of the current pandemic, that much of the media that I found myself consuming over the few months while writing this piece features a lot of close shot videos of faces. If you think of like YouTube videos, or this current surge in video conferencing, like we're doing right now, all these reunions of questionable television shows, usually based on this sort of Zoom format, this video conference format. So in the same vein, I was thinking of presenting Kai as this mini video conference where he interacts with different iterations of himself. And then also, taking some considerations that this is like performed in his house as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Just want to also thank Linda, Amadeus, Kurt, and Peggy for their perspective during the writing process, which I found incredibly helpful. And thank you.
Welcome. Here we are. So this is a house. Front door. Let's come on inside. There's Cat. That's Marco. Here is the dining room. Let's see, over on the side here we have living room. There's a computer. Dining room table. Cat again. Over here, we've got the kitchen. Self-explanatory. Okay, over here is the bedroom. Take a little look around. Got some knickknacks, pictures from our wedding. Back out. And then we come around the corner into the music room. This is where all the recording gets done. Practicing. Got a keyboard, all the instruments. Let's see, we've got some various mugs and steins from trips to Europe. Oh, other cat says hi. And, oh, there's a, oh, it's blurry. Zoom out a little bit. It's an old metal clarinet. That was a gift from a family friend. What else interesting do we have here? Alcohol. And some claves. I actually made those myself in Hawaii. I have family there. Yeah, that's most of what we have here. Instruments. Small, but homey.
My name is Jack Langdon. I'm a composer. I am currently in Chicago, Illinois, but normally if there weren't a pandemic going on, I would be in Vermont, where I study at Dartmouth College.
My name is Sebastian Stefanovic. I am a violist. I'm currently in Baltimore, Maryland, which is where I grew up. But normally you can find me in Houston, Texas at the Rice University Shepherd School of Music.
And the piece that we worked on together for the 2020 Composers Conference is titled I-90, which was written for viola and fixed media. I was inspired on a trip between Missoula, Montana and Chicago, Illinois, spending considerable amounts of time on Interstate 90, which at its terminus goes from Seattle all the way to Boston, and I believe is one of the longest continuous roads in the United States. There's just such a variety of sound that one encounters, and certainly when you're coming from Montana up in the mountains and seeing beautiful landscapes of the Rocky Mountains, eventually entering into the foothills of the Great Plains, and then coming back into the Midwest, which is my home, I was very much struck by how surreal it is to traverse that area during a pandemic. This piece sort of explores the variety of sound that exists in natural contexts and in human contexts, just the amount of sonic diversity that exists along that one line that goes from Montana to Chicago was a very interesting experience. And I wanted to create a piece that sort of explored surreal side to all of that.
So Jack and I had actually never met until this summer, and we still haven't met in real life. So we did have to get to know each other a little bit when we started working on this together. We chatted a bit about our shared love of road trips, and kind of the nostalgic element of road trips. You know, it's that liminal area in between things where, you know where you're going and you know where you came from, but you don't know what you're going to find along the way. I brought him a couple examples of excerpts from the viola repertoire that I thought kind of exemplified that, which he has woven into the piece.
It was such a distinct challenge, I think, working with the viola, because I'll admit, even though I've written for it in orchestral contexts, it's an instrument that I think I didn't quite understand. So being able to spend some time with Sebastian and certainly listening to the repertoire with a lot more detail helped me kind of get a better sense of what the instrument's nature was and what it did well and what its challenges might have been. So the experience of trying to meld this really unique and distinct instrument within this texture of field recordings from the forest and from the highway and in small towns along I-90 was kind of an interesting challenge. Much of the piece, in terms of the fixed media, was based off of field recordings that I made from this trip. And I had to find this area where there was a sort of harmonious balance between the gestures that I was evoking in the viola line, which was composed, and some of the gestures that I would hear in the recordings themselves, which sometimes they aligned, but oftentimes they had this interesting tension between them that I thought was really fun to play with.
And this is also my first experience playing a piece with fixed media. So it's been a learning process. It's actually much more difficult than I would have thought playing with headphones on. You lose some of the sensory feedback that you get from that close listening to the instrument. But in a lot of ways, it's really comforting, and it feels nice to be able to play with something, if not someone, during this enforced break from our usual routines.
Hi, good evening. The piece that Octavian and I prepared for this is called Expulsure, and it's a music that combines new music flute techniques with beatboxing flute.
There are lots of percussive flute techniques, such as bass drum kicks, hi-hats, and some fillers, all of which are notated on additional staff only for the vocalizations. The piece is about 6 minutes long, and it was recorded at home in Bowling Green, Ohio.
Thank you for taking the time to listen, and hope that you are well and safe.
Hello, my name is Kory Reeder, coming to you from my apartment in beautiful Denton, Texas. Poetry as Practice is a solo keyboard work written for my friend Jack. Before the 2020 Composers Conference, I didn't know Jack, but we quickly found common ground with shared musical interests. We love a lot of the same music and the same composers and have a shared understanding of musical practices. For me, this piece is really about that shared understanding. It's about empathy. And it's this idea of coming together for a shared creative vision. My resolution for 2020 was to read more poetry. A poet friend of mine, Matt Morton, has said that poetry is important because it demands empathy to understand. If 2020 has taught us anything, I hope it's that empathy is essential for survival, and I hope that we can take art as a chance to learn and develop this practice. To quote Eva Maria Hubin's book, Musical Practice as a Form of Life, she says, "What is the meaning of music? Music is necessary for human survival. We find meaning in encouragements to survive, in suggestions to find relationships, in invitations to encounter other human beings. In musical practice, we act as bodies, and we act together. We are also connected to others. We are performing solo pieces. In a world such as ours, as Blacking says, we want to do something, and our activities and musical practice draw us into processes that touch the future. We might gain hope. It's an empathetic process. It's a poetic process. And to me, that's an essential practice. I want to thank Jack and the 2020 Composers Conference for such a wonderful opportunity and a chance to be part of this new world together as we find new ways of working, creating, and understanding each other. Thank you.
Hi, Akari.
Hi,
We're here
Jake.
to talk about your great new piece called Elapsed for solo cello and tape. Do you just want to say something about how it came about and what your
Yeah.
inspiration was?
So yeah, this is kind of a duet for solo cello with the fixed media electronics part, and that kind of overlays a pre-recorded audio file of this exactly the same piece but played in reverse, and that kind of results in this palindrome-like structure where these two parts are moving across each other in time. And at the midpoint of the piece, that kind of unfolds into kind of climactic, powerful unison moment for both the live performer and the track electronic part. And they kind of sonically mirror each other. And this kind of work mainly explores this different timbres of the solo instrument that emerges in kind of conversation with the electronic parts. And the main concept of this piece kind of centers around the idea of remembering and memory and misremembering and re-emergence of the past, and kind of challenges the audience to also listen to the time that flows in two directions at the same time. So yeah, that kind of is the piece is about.
Great. I guess just to add to that, from the performance side of things, um, it's been so fun to dive into the palindrome idea. Uh, and I guess maybe I should mention an earlier draft of the piece. Um, you had written that the tape part and the live performance part would be stitched together based on the timing of certain structural moments.
Mhm.
And at a certain point along the way in the revision process, um, you had changed it to be more of a chamber music experience between the tape and the live part.
Right.
So I guess I'll say that that fundamentally changed everything about the way I approached the performance of it, because I had to become much more aware of what the reverse track was really doing at every given moment,
Mhm.
and how that fit together with the live portion. So um, I've had so much fun figuring out all the extended techniques and freaking my neighbors out about the scratch tones. And I feel very lucky to have been on this side of the creative process with you, sort of ushering this piece into existence. And I can't wait for people to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the piece.
Thank you.